There's a role you've been playing for a long time, and most of the people in your life don't even know it's a role. The one who holds things together. The one people call when something falls apart, not the other way around. The one who listens, who shows up, who finds the strength to be steady even when nothing underneath that steadiness feels steady at all. You've gotten good at it, maybe too good. Good enough that people have stopped wondering whether you need anything, because you've never given them a reason to wonder. You handle it. You always have. So they assume you always will. And maybe that's true. Maybe you will keep handling it, because that's who you are, and you don't know how to be anyone else. But underneath all of that, underneath the steadiness, the reliability, the quiet strength that everyone has come to expect from you, there's a part of you that is tired in a way you haven't said out loud. Not tired like you need a nap. Tired like you've been carrying something for so long that you've forgotten what it feels like to put it down. Tired like you've spent so much energy being what other people need that you've lost track of what you need. If that's where you are, this is for you. Because what I want to say to you today is not about becoming less strong. It's not about stopping the care, the showing up, the steadiness that makes you who you are. It's about something else entirely. Something that's been waiting for you for a long time. It's your turn now. The first thing. Being the strong one was never supposed to be permanent. Somewhere along the way, maybe early, maybe through circumstances you didn't choose, you learned that you were the one who could handle things. And once people learn that about someone, they stop checking. They stop asking if the strong one is okay, because the strong one has never given them reason to think otherwise. So the role became permanent. Not because it was supposed to be, but because nobody, including you, ever revisited it. Here's what's true though. Every role like this has a season, a purpose, a reason it existed at the time it started, and seasons end. Not because the people who needed you stopped needing things, they probably always will in some form, but because you are allowed to stop being defined entirely by what you give to everyone else. The exhaustion you feel is not a character flaw. It's not a sign you're not strong enough. It is the most honest signal you have that the season of being only the giver has gone on long enough, and something needs to shift. Not stop. Shift. Second, the people who need you to stay this way are not the people you should be listening to. Here's something uncomfortable but true. Some of the people in your life benefit from you staying exactly as you are. Endlessly available, endlessly steady, endlessly the one who absorbs whatever needs absorbing, so they don't have to. That doesn't make them bad people. Often they don't even realize they're doing it. But it means that when you start to shift, when you start asking for something back, setting a boundary, admitting you're tired, some of those people will resist. Not because they don't care about you, but because your shift requires something from them they're not used to giving. And in that moment, it will feel like you're doing something wrong. Like you're letting people down. Like the steadiness they've relied on is cracking and it's your fault. It isn't. What's actually happening is that the relationship is being asked to become more honest than it's been. And honest relationships can hold a person who needs something back. If a relationship can't survive you having needs, that relationship was built on an imbalance that was never sustainable to begin with. for either of you. The people who are actually for you will meet this version of you with relief, not resistance. Pay attention to which response you get. Third, you don't have to earn rest. You don't have to earn being held. There's a quiet belief that's probably been running underneath all of this, so quiet you might not have noticed it. The belief that rest, care, support, the things you give so freely to everyone else, have to be earned before you're allowed to receive them. That you have to be falling apart enough, struggling enough, in crisis enough, before it's legitimate for someone to take care of you. So you wait. You keep going. You tell yourself you're fine, because fine is the threshold below which you don't feel allowed to ask for anything. But here's the truth. You don't have to be in crisis to deserve care. You don't have to collapse before it's okay to need something. The exhaustion you've been carrying, the quiet, sustained, unglamorous kind that doesn't look like an emergency, but adds up year after year, that is enough. That alone is enough reason. You are allowed to need things simply because you are a person, not because you've reached some threshold of suffering that makes the need official. The same compassion you extend so easily to everyone else, the benefit of the doubt, the patience, the belief that they deserve support without having to prove it, that compassion belongs to you too. Fourth, what you've been giving others, you are about to receive. There's a pattern that exists in nature and in human life that very few people pay attention to until they're living through it. Whatever a person gives consistently, sincerely, over a long period of time, without keeping score, without expecting anything specific in return, that thing has a way of eventually finding its way back to them. Not always from the same source, not always in the form they expected, but it returns. You have been given steadiness to people who needed it. You've been giving presence, attention, the feeling of being seen to people who were struggling. You have been the person who shows up. And right now, even if it doesn't feel like it, that is starting to move in your direction. The relationships, the support, the people who will show up for you the way you've shown up for others, they are not a fantasy. They are not something you have to manufacture out of nothing. They are the natural consequence of who you have been, finally beginning to circle back. It might already be starting in small ways you've been too tired to notice. A person checking in unprompted. A moment of being asked how you're really doing, and someone actually waiting for the answer. Pay attention to those moments. They're not small. They're the beginning. Fifth, the strongest thing you can do right now is let yourself be soft. This is the part that might be hardest to hear, because everything in you has been trained to associate strength with holding it together, with not needing, with being the one others lean on. But there's another kind of strength, quieter, less visible, and in many ways harder. It's the strength it takes to say "I'm not okay" to someone, out loud, and let the discomfort of that honesty sit there instead of immediately reassuring them that you're fine. It's the strength to let someone help you with something you could technically handle alone, because you don't have to handle everything alone just because you can. It's the strength to rest without guilt, to receive without immediately needing to give something back in return, to take up space with your own needs without apologizing for it. That kind of strength doesn't look like what you've been doing. It might even feel, at first, like weakness, because it's unfamiliar, and because everything you've built your identity around has been the other kind. But it isn't weakness. It's the next part of who you are. The part that's been waiting patiently underneath all the giving for permission to exist. You don't need anyone's permission. You just need to let it happen. So here's what I want you to do right now. Place one hand over your heart. Take a slow breath in. Let it out slowly. And say this out loud. To yourself, like you mean it. I have given so much, and I am allowed to receive now. It's my turn. Say it again, slower. I have given so much, and I am allowed to receive now. It's my turn. Let that land somewhere real, not as a performance for anyone else, just for you. Because the version of you that has been holding everything together, that version is not disappearing. It's not being replaced. It's just no longer going to be the only version of you that gets to exist. There is a version of you that gets to be held too. That gets to be cared for without having to ask twice. That gets to rest without earning it first. And that version of you has been waiting, quietly, for a long time. It's your turn now. Let it happen. If this found you when you needed it, leave one word in the comments. Turn. Just that. Because something in you already knows what it means. And if you know someone who has been the strong one for everyone else for far too long, someone who gives endlessly and rarely lets anyone give back, send this to them. Not with an explanation. Just send it. They've been strong for everyone else. It's their turn too.